Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. Today we're talking about June drop in apples. What that is the apple trees, by the time we get to June, start realizing, if that's a word that you can use in an apple tree, that they don't have enough nutrients or water to be able to supply every apple on every flower cluster, and so they start dropping some of their apples. Now they were flowering in May. They were beautiful. They had flowers up and down all of these clusters of all these spurs. It was a beautiful tree. You can see that a lot of them didn't become pollinated, didn't produce any apples at all, which is great because this tree was only planted last year and I don't really want very many apples on this tree. Probably shouldn't have any for the first year. We're going to look to see how the spacing is. On larger fruit like peaches, pears, apples, we want the spacing on the branches to be 4 or 5 inches apart. On smaller fruits, apricots and large plums, maybe 3 inches apart, and on small fruit like cherries, 1 to even 2 inches at the most. We have a lot of fruit on those trees. So in this case, there's 1 out on this branch, there's 2 up on this end up here, and so we're going to take off 1. We have 3 up on the end of this branch, and so we're going to take out a couple up here as well. Sometimes they would just fall off. So we've got other branches where there's small ones that are still smaller than a marble at this point, and they just fall off on their own. That's just fine with me. We don't really want any on here right now. Now, to prevent some of this from happening in the future, what we want to have is enough moisture for this tree and enough leaves on the tree to be able to supply the food and nutrients and water to these apples. This year it doesn't have a very big root system, so it's not a surprise that we're losing most of the fruit. We want to be able to keep it as much disease free as we can, so we'd treat for cedar apple rust, apple scab, other kinds of diseases that might get on these trees, to reduce the number of leaves, which reduces the amount of carbohydrates stored in the trunk and in the branches, which then would lead to fewer flowers and fewer fruit. So it's a combination of treating and taking care of the tree in a balance for the entire year to prevent this June drop. And that's all there is. We just want to make sure that the apples are spaced properly along the branch and that we get a good apple instead of a whole bunch of tiny ones, and we don't want to lose too many fruits through June drop. Thanks for watching. This has been a Green Review.